Oh my goodness, okay. It was on this day, January 2nd of 2022. Woohoo! Happy late New Year's, I guess. That I finished the Crimson campaign. And I may have I was feeling very guilty for setting aside the series for so long. And like the first bunch of chapters I was like, yeah, I'm getting back in the groove. I had to remember things a lot. But as soon as I got back in the groove, I can't convey. I I was like feeling it, I was going along, and then it started hooking me, and then it started hooking me harder, and then it had my heart cradled in its grasp throughout like the rest of the book. It was non-stop, and it was intense. Oh my god. Ah! So good. It was so good. It was so freaking good. Ah! Okay. My heart. My heart hurt. I stayed up till 3 a.m. last night reading this. Do not advise. Don't stay up till 3 a.m. reading a book. But I did. And then I woke up in the morning and immediately started reading it after I made lunch. I had lunch in the morning. We don't question that. And then I've read nonstop since then. It's so good. It's starting like right here. I couldn't stop reading. It was a problem. It was so good though. Maybe a little bit further actually. I was at 40%. Wherever 40% is. Like there. 40% through the book. I was absolutely hooked. Just, there was one thing after another, after another, after another. It just kept going until the very end of the book. Like the very, very end, which it is kind of a cliffhanger. It is like a 95% cliffhanger. Of course, I don't have the third book with me. The third book is back in my dorm, and I'm going to be back in my dorm in 5 days. 4.5. So I won't be able to read the last book because my library, you have to put a hold for it. Grr! I really want to read the last book. Ah! It was so good, man. It, all the way through this book, it was good. It was very good. The plot was good. The characters, I freaking love the characters. We're going to return back to that. The plot, the characters, the magic. The magic is freaking awesome, and I love everything's just like coming together. It's like it's so good. So good! Okay. What else is there? Plot, magic, characters? Nothing else needs to exist apparently. Also, for the record, this is a very tiny detail, but he has a very readable prose. I'm not saying that it's hard to come across an easy to read prose. It's very noticeable when you find a hard to read prose, like with Malazan. Malazan was rough for me. That was a very hard one. This one, it's just so, it just flows very well. I did find one error in the book, but we're not going to talk about it. There was a single one-word error. It was a mistake, but that's fine. I don't actually know if it is written into every copy or if it's just this copy that got misprinted. I don't know. But there was a mistake, but it's fine. It's just one word. But, I mean, it's a freaking good book. It's actually a lot of pages, too. It flew by, though. I guess in a certain way, 600 pages isn't a lot, but with this big text. A lot of dialogue. 600 pages really isn't a lot, but it feels like a lot because so much happens inside of those pages. And it flies by. It really does fly by. It's so freaking good. Oh man. Okay, I need to stop just rambling about how good it is and actually talk about things. I have notes on my phone. I should look this up. It's so good. We'll talk about characters first. I love every freaking character. There isn't a character I hate. There does not exist. There is not a character I hate that isn't like the biggest bad guy, i.e. King of Hill. I don't know how to say his name, I'm sorry. I'm reading physical books, so I don't know how to say things anymore. Oops. Other than like the big bad guy of the series, I don't hate anybody. I love like 90% of the characters, even some of the bad guys who I definitely should not have liked. Oops. Oops. That's a very bad habit I have. Whoops. I think I probably did it with Codex Alera at some point. What was his name? I think he started with an A. Nope, it's not gonna come with me. There's too many names with an A in this, and that's all that came to my mind. But there was some character in Codex Alera that was a bad guy, and I liked him, and then he grew as a character throughout, and it was great. There's a bad guy in this that was very much not the same as that situation, but I like him. And it's a problem, because he's a very, very bad person. But he's a freaking amazing character, and that's really what matters in the end. I love Marcone from Dresden Files. I like these bad guys, but it's because they're written so well, and they're made so well, and the way that they're just everything about the character, it's so good. So, anyway, I liked, like, basically every single character that was, you saw, like, more than 4 times. They're freaking amazing. I could, like, create, like, a list. I mean, we'll go in order. We got Olam, we got Thomas. I love Thomas. I love Olam. I love Thomas. I love Olam. I love Laura. I didn't like her coming into this book, but she grew on me. She grew on me a lot. She grew on me a lot. Oh my goodness. And I like Privileged Bo. I love Bo. Oh, Bo. Fell. Capole! Don't forget Capole! Oh my gosh, Capole is so freaking... she's so awesome! Okay, Capole is like... Good. She's just badass! There's no other words about that. She's badass, and she's funny, she has humor. I love her. She definitely grows a lot in this book compared to the first book. All of the characters have a lot more complexity to them than they had in the first book. All of them. You really, really get to know them, and it's freaking amazing. So anyway, Capole. I love Taniel. Taniel really grew on me after he was done being a drunkard. Taniel really grew on me. Like, everybody. Everybody except for the bad guys. Like General Ken. But the bad guy I did like, it's not really a spoiler, but if you have read the first book, then maybe you don't want to know that I like this bad guy. Lord Vadus. I really shouldn't like him, but the fight between, nope, we're not going to talk about that. Oopsie! But he just has these series of scenes where it's just like, oh! And he's just such a good character. I like really good characters, okay? And I like when people are badass, even if they're evil. So, you know, points have been made. I like people, even if they're bad. God, I really can't come up with a character I don't like. Really. Except for bad guys. Rickard kind of grew on me. That was a weird one. Didn't see him coming, but he did. I like Adamat. I don't love Adamat. Like Olam and Taniel and Capole and Thomas and Bo. Like, I don't love adamant like I love them, but I do like him, and I love watching his story. And again, he has this mystery aspect to him because he's an inspector, so works for me. We're all for it. Oh. Basically, all of what I just said. I'm sorry. My brain is dead. I'm sorry. All of what I just said is summarized into the characters are freaking amazing, and I love all the characters. Okay? Yep. Good? Okay. God, I love all the characters. I love them. You're like, I am so emotionally invested into all of them, which is a problem, because every time one of them gets hurt, or is this close to dying, I'm like, no! We're just gonna pretend. It's fine, it's fine. They'll be fine. Surely. I did almost scream at one point. There was a scary moment. I get way too attached to characters, so yeah, when things happen I have panic attacks. But it's okay. Because I'm having fun. Just reading books. Perfectly normal. Oh my goodness. Okay. Anyway, characters are freaking amazing. I already said this, but like 40% onward, it's freaking everything. It's like so intense. It's so captivating. It's badass as hell. There's all these badass moments back to back to back to back to back, and there's just so much brilliance and good characters. It's good. It's really good. You kind of have to work your way up to it, but it's like the first part is literally the exact same as book 1. And then the rest is its own beast. It's so good. The cliffhanger's a little annoying. I'm just sitting here thinking about the cliffhanger, but it'll be fine. I'll be able to know eventually. Do I even have anything else other than I love every character ever? Mystery, yep. I just repeated myself like 20 times in these notes. That is sad. These are kind of spoilers. Do I say them in the spoiler section or do I allude to it now? The last thing I'll say, and I'll get into detail in the spoiler section, which also I only have like 10 more minutes I can record this, is that there's also all these tiny details. The author's really good at adding this little tiny, minute, little like forward things that have so much depth and meaning to them that just get to your head. I don't know if that makes sense, but there were a lot of those, and I wrote down like 5 examples here. But just like things that maybe normally you would just like shove to the back of your head as soon as you read it. I don't know. I really like those moments, and there's a lot of them. There's just so... It just makes all of everything seem more like alive and realistic and everything. I don't know if that makes sense. Part of why I read is because I get so immersed in reading when I read. It's the only time I really feel that. Otherwise, my head is doing like 8 things at once, which is kind of a bad thing, but I don't know. I have a very active mind. When I read, it's just the book. That is all that is happening. So it's those tiny details that make it just that much more immersive, and I love it. Alright. Crimson Campaign! We'll get into spoilers! I don't have a lot of spoilers. I have like 7 total. 8 total, and then that will be it. So, this is your chance. My very first spoiler is going to be the very end of the book, so you should definitely leave now and not listen to spoilers. You've had your chance. Sip my tea. Alright. Spoilers, end of the book. What is going on, Taniel? Mahaly died. I forgot about Mahaly! I don't know how to say his name, I'm sorry. But he's another character I freaking loved. He died at the end of the book. And Kresimir is the name of the mountain, I think. Yeah, I think Kesimir is the god and Kresimir is something else. I think. I might be wrong. Kresimir might be nothing. Anyway, Kesimir, the god, just killed Mahali and just blinded 2 entire armies just right there on the spot by summoning the Else. I don't even know what happened there. What are we supposed to do about that? Like, at the end, he was like, Kapol, his blood is on my shirt. And then that was it. That's all we know until the next book, which is the next book is probably going to start with Adamat and then go to, like, Rickard or, like, Fell or something, and then go to Thomas, and then it will go to Taniel, because you can't start a book with that, can you? Can you? I don't know. We're gonna know in, like, 5 days. 5 days, we will know. I will be reading the hell out of that book. I'm honestly curious if I could finish it before school starts, because I'll be getting there 2 days early. So if I can finish it in 2 days... Oops. My bad. There we are. So, anyway, moving on. I don't really have any comments about the book other than it ended on that, and that is pretty insane. It ended with all 3 perspectives. I love... Oh my god, I already forgot his name. Salum? Nope. 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 That was it. That was it. Sulem. 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 Fuck, I don't know how to say any of the names. I'm sorry. Sulem. The king. The king of Deliv. Deliv. I'm gonna go with Deliv. I don't know how to say anything. I'm sorry. The king, when the king arrived and Thomas woke up and he's just like, I'm sorry. That was a great moment. Other great moments. Fel and Veda's fight. I was freaking out. That entire fight. I love any kind of character that's just that skilled. Like, that universally skilled. They're like... I've been playing Hitman, and I'm sorry for this analogy, but it's like having 2 Agent 47s against each other, except maybe they're not as perfect as Agent 47, but they're, like, really, really, really freaking close. They're, like, they are perfect at what they do. And so having those 2 fight in a very intense fight, that's... was a very good moment. And then following that, immediately after... Privileged Beau just going down the street like pulling harp strings, doing privileged hand gesture things, and then going and the front of the entire building just going like bye. It's just gone. It just goes, just collapses. It probably sounds really lame when I'm like reiterating what happened, but reading it was... Oh, that was such a good moment. That's when I started spamming my friends about everything happening. And they've gotten a lot of caps locks and messages, and I'm sorry that I am spamming the channel. I'm actually really sorry that I'm spamming the channel. But it was a very good moment, and that's a good one. I need breath. I just want to say... 2 moments that stood out as iffy to me. One of them's only iffy because I was terrified, and otherwise it's actually not iffy. I would have read it. Was Kapol, when she was in the room and the 5 guys were there, and Taniel got beat up. And things are gonna happen. I'm not gonna elaborate on that, but if you know what scene I'm talking about, then you know what scene I'm talking about. I was terrified when I read that scene, so that was the thing, and I screamed a bit. But it was okay. So that scene especially stood out to me. I'm glad it turned out okay. If it didn't turn out okay, I would have been angry and would have wanted Taniel to murder everybody. So, you know, there's that. And then the other scene was when Thomas was yelling at Flora and Olam. I think Thomas was out of line, but that ended up being like a little mini plot line, and it got addressed, and he ended up being okay. Ow! Frick. I deserve that. I don't know what for, but I definitely deserve that. Probably for spamming my friends. Anyway, that ended up being, like, resolved and, like, all of that, so. There were a lot of things that were unexpected that were coming up, like the. Okay, Adrin? I don't know how to say anything anymore. The Kez army that was disguised as Thomas's army that was heading north. I did not see that coming. That's what I was trying to say. I had no idea that was going to happen, and then where it led to that city aviation. The benefits of having maps in the front of your books. Aviation? Maybe it's aviation. Alvation. My bad. Alvation. That's more of a name, not a word. That entire bit was intense. And then also the bit where there were like 50 kegs of gunpowder at the end. Also intense. I actually thought that Thomas blew himself into the sky. He didn't, thank goodness, because I would have been sad if he died, because I freaking love him, and I love all the characters. And then, that was a moment. And then the last thing I'll talk about is going back to the tiny details. I mentioned the non-spoiler section. Some examples of those tiny details. Bayon, the general youngest son, I think he's the youngest son, assuming Ipil only has 3 sons. The youngest son who was fighting against Thomas. As, like, the cavalry and the dragoons were, like, about to, like, attack Thomas, and he's cornered because he cut off the bridge and didn't tell the soldiers he did that and all that. That moment, they're all about to charge, and it's, like, about to be this freaking huge battle, and Bayon, like, the youngest son, raises his sword and kisses his sword, and then raises it in a salute. And that was, like, a total of, like, 8 words. Well, it's like a 1 mini paragraph because Thomas had his reaction to it. 1 mini paragraph, but I really liked that. Like, it really added a lot of everything to that scene. Also, I ended up liking Bayon. He's an enemy. I ended up liking him. I like characters, man. Olim's sarcasm about his cigar, like he was talking about his cigar box, and Thomas was just like mentally like listening from a distance and rolling his eyes. And then he ended up smoking his last cigar right as Thomas said, "Tell me we're gonna win this, Olim." And Olim was like, "Tell me we're gonna win this, Olim." We're gonna win this, Olim. Just his sarcasm, those little tiny moments, him actually smoking his last cigar right as the battle begins. Vastly approve. I really love Olim. I just want to say that. And then last example was when Thomas like prayed for Mahali to be able to do something, and then he said a prayer was answered. It's like very subtle. A lot of authors will like, this is poor phrasing, but I think people will get what I mean. Some authors will like just dumb it down to make sure that the readers get what is happening. Brian McClellan. I'm gonna go with McClellan. Didn't do that. He was just like, a prayer was answered, and that was it. That was like the entire explanation of why the fog was there, because it's pretty self-evident when you think about it, if you were paying attention. And so I like that, just those 3 words. It just works perfectly. And it really says something about Thomas, the way that was worded. So, loving it. I love everything. This book is freaking amazing. The hounds at our heels will soon know that we are lions. I've noticed that the front of every book seems, I don't know that 3rd book, but it seems to all be lines Thomas has. I consider Thomas to be the main character, but there's definitely 3 main characters, Thomas, Taniel, and Adamat, because they are the people we follow. But there's definitely like 20 main characters if you count Olim and Bove, and I feel like all of them qualify as main characters, so yeah, and I love them all. I love everybody. Okay, that was it. Yay. Sorry for the random time cut, but for once I rambled too long. Like, I rambled way too much. So I'm just gonna edit that out and do this instead. So for the outro, where I show what I'm reading next, and then the new books I got, first of all, the next book I'm reading is the third book of this trilogy that I somehow just failed to load up. Here we go. I got it on my Kindle, or on my, not on my Kindle. I got a Kindle edition via my library of The Autumn Republic, the third book of Powder Mage, because I just got an email that I'm not allowed to go back to my house until the 21st, which sucks. So all of my books that are back where I actually live, I don't have access to for another 2 to 3 weeks, which is very fun. So I'll be doing the library edition. I only owned so many books here, so if I end up finishing that book, well, never mind what I was going to say. Anyway, that's the book I'm reading next. And then after that, this is why I said never mind. I'm going to be returning to my guilty book. I've technically been reading this for 2 years. Oops! And it's not because it's bad, it just, I look at this, and I look at this, and this wins. That's really the main reason why I keep postponing this book over and over and over and over again. And the other reason is just because while I enjoyed the journey and finding out all these things and seeing him explore the world, I just don't with him being a horny teenager. I mean, like, really teenager. So most of the plots that come up are entirely about that, and that's part of why I'm just so slow with this book. This book ends when he's an adult, right? He becomes an adult in here. So I'm sure it will go away, and I'm sure that he'll start to, like, maybe he'll be betrayed or something, and then he'll realize, maybe I shouldn't be doing this. I don't know. In the first place, he got kicked out of freaking Italy because of that in the first place. It's not a spoiler because this is historical fiction. But anyway, I keep postponing this book. I'm going to read it. I'm actually going to, if I do end up reading it, especially since I don't have any of my books here, and I'm not allowed to go back home, if I do read this, I might read 3 chapters. Now, usually I do 1 chapter at a time, which is why I'm only 4 chapters in. Am I only 4 chapters in? I think so. Yeah, I'm only 4 chapters in. Usually I only do 1 chapter at a time, but the next 2 chapters aren't as long as the previous ones. They're not short, but they're not as long as the previous chapters. Bulk is actually short. This is Bulk. Bulk's really small. And then Roof of the World is pretty decent sized. And then Kitai is also pretty decent sized. There's a possibility I could do Khan Balak. Khan Balak, if I remember correctly, is the 2nd biggest chapter in the book. Yep. Yeah, Khan Balak's over 100 pages. Still going. There we are. Yeah, Khan Balak's over 100 pages. So, I might just get to Khan Balak and stop. Khan Balak, if I remember correctly, is halfway through the book, though. So that's the good news. Is that right? Yeah. Khan Balak is halfway through the book. I know I'm probably mispronouncing all this, which is sad because it's real life things. But, you know, I'm sorry. I live in a very tiny world here. I don't know. I'm hoping the book picks up. My dad's the one who recommended this to me, if you didn't know. He loves this author, Gary Jennings. The problem is the books he likes by this author are a little bit too much for me. And I've chosen to wait until I am 30 to read them. So, for that reason, he gave me this one because it's not as much, but it's still, it's just a horny teenager. Like, I don't know what else to really say there. It's just a lot. The books he actually wants to give me are that, but right. So it's a lot. It's a lot. I'm sure the author's amazing. I'm just slow with these things. I'm sorry about the Discord things. So I finished Powder Mage, and I'll read Journeyer. If that takes the whole span of me getting home, then yay, we can go to plan. So the plan, would hypothetically be to read Era 2 of Mistborn after reading Secret History, because everybody and their mom tells me to read Secret History first. So I'd read Secret History first, and then we'll go on and read Era 2 of Powder Mage, help me, of Mistborn. Why Mistborn? Just because it's small. Like, I don't see a reason why not. I guess I technically should just wait a while longer until there's some semblance of word about Era 3. But, I don't know, I figured I'd just get them out of the way since they're short. All 4 of those books, the book that has Secret History in it, are in my dorm. So, yay! So, if I can't do that, I might go to the step I was going to do. Wow. Okay. The step I was going to do after that, which was my sci-fi. I was hoping to do a sci-fi series, but I might do a sci-fi standalone. I have 2 problems with my sci-fi series. There's 2 I'm considering. There's Locked Tomb, and there's Expanse. And the problem with Locked Tomb is that it's an incomplete series, like 80% of the books I own. The problem with The Expanse is that it's very long. People have said in the past that it goes by quick, but the people who said that to me are very fast readers. Like, very fast. Like, over 100 books a year fast. I'm really bad at committing, if y'all have not noticed. So, I don't know, I'm worried. This is an Expanse book. It's really tall. Very big. The margins are big, at the very least, but it's still pretty decent sized. It's very decent sized. It's 600 pages. Just like this was 600 pages, but it's taller. See the problem here? I like I'm holding both of them upside down. Yeah, it's a big book. Oh, maybe I'm not holding it upside down. Yeah. I forgot the camera mirrors it, so I'm sorry. Anyway, I don't know. There's a dilemma there. I can't really decide between them. If I do Locked Tomb, then I'm gonna read 2 books and then be waiting. The thing about Locked Tomb is that my friend gifted me the audiobook of the first book last week, so I feel obligated to read it. And then I'll come back to this, but I have the second book on the way right now in paperback, so like I'm ready to read it when I need to. The Expanse, I'm only getting books 1 through 3, and I'm stopping buying them just to make sure I like them before I pay the money for 9 books. Usually I would buy the entire trilogy or tetralogy or whatever, but since this is 9 books, I'm buying them one at a time. So, it's a thing. We'll see. If I read a standalone, I'll probably read House of Suns by Alastair Reynolds, because I haven't read standalone sci-fi in a while. If you don't count classics. Technically, I totally read standalone sci-fi recently, but you know. Oops. Anyway, that's kind of the plan. Y'all may have noticed that things typically don't go to plan, so shrug. I don't know, we'll see. I mean, I could I could replace Era 2 of Mistborn with... What's the name of this trilogy? Farseer? I think it's Farseer. Robin Hobb. My 3 Robin Hobb trilogy books. They look small. And I know that they are very character driven and that they can wreck your heart. That's all I know about them. That's it. Other than the fact that they have assassin in the name, so intrigue. I could read those. They seem small. It's possible they're not. It might be deceptive, but they do look small. Kind of deceptive like Mistborn. Mistborn was very deceptive. They were tiny books, but they had tiny text. And the thing about the text in the Mistborn books I got was that they were hard to read. Like, it hurt the eyes to read. I don't know if anyone's ever had books like that, but those editions of that hurt my eyes. So, that was a thing. That's why I ended up doing the audiobook for most of Hero of Ages. Partly. Alright. That's most of the plan. We'll see. I mean, there's a lot of other ways I can go about it. But now that most of the books in my dorm aren't available at the moment, I got all the books I left. And all the books in the front here are the ones I haven't read. All the ones behind them I have read, so with one exception, but we don't count it. I don't know. There's a lot there. I have a lot of ongoing series. It's kind of a problem. It's inevitable, but for each one I'm like, I'll wait until the last book comes out, which the last book of this one just came out, which is why I'm like, I could do it! It's still 9 books. And the newest book is expensive at the moment because it just came out a month ago. So, shrug. I don't know, we'll see. We shall see. So, that's most of the plan there. In terms of new books I got Caliban's War, the second book of The Expanse, and I also have the third book of The Expanse, which is Abandoned's Gate, on the way right now. Courtesy of Holidays gift cards. I'll do that one last. I also have Herod the Ninth on the way, as I said, also courtesy of Amazon gift card. And then I also courtesy, I have, I never know the name of it. I want to say Heirs of Northborn? I'm so sorry, Ari. I have the third book of Writer of Revelations on the way. I have book 2 right here, and then I have book 1 in audiobook and Kindle. Oops, I didn't mean for that to happen. So, I have the third book of that happening. The reason I can't read that series is because my friend, Ari, wants me to read the prequel series first, and first of all, I don't own the prequel series, and second of all, the prequel series is an ongoing series, so I'd read the ongoing prequels, and then read the original series, and then wait for the ongoing prequels. I think that's a little weird, but it's what she said to do, so that's why I'm gonna hold off on that for a while. She got me the audiobook for the first of the prequel series, which is Crown of Thorns, I think. So she gifted me that. And then my other friend gifted me Gideon the Ninth in audiobook form, because they're both audiobookers, like nerds. I'm kidding. Gotta tease them. It's kind of ironic. If you ever wondered what would happen if a European friend gifts an American an audiobook, what happens is you have to go make an Amazon UK account. So, there's your answer. I now have an Amazon UK account with a grand total of 2 books on it. It's kind of funny that they both use Amazon UK, even though only one of them lives in the UK. It's kind of weird. Oh well, whatever. But, yeah, I have all of those books. So that's like 3, 4, 5, 6. That's 6 new books I got. We're going. So that is nice. And then I have one last book. It is not really fiction or historical fiction or mystery or a book. It's not a novel. It's actually poetry. So, technically, poetry. I got this for Christmas from my mom. And it's called Good Morning, Good Night. It's by Lin-Manuel Miranda. And I believe the premise is that he was writing a bunch of Twitter posts every single morning and every single night to people. And this is a collection of the Twitter posts in a kind of poetic form. Some are longer. Most of the examples I've found are small, but I did have a long example. So, it's a poetry book. I've been liking it so far, just reading it very slowly. So, I just wanted to share this because it's kind of cute and very nice. Alright, and that covers my future of reading and the new books I got, even if 3 of them aren't here yet. So, I'm excited, and I shall start reading this tonight. Bye-bye.